We have an incredible amount of opportunity, and we've gotten wildly lazy.
Yeah. In this particular case, like I feel like I'm kind of
You
doing
are
what I'm
doing
supposed to
the
be
work.
doing.
Yeah.
And yet still lots of people don't read. I mean, I feel like books are niche, not because they're actually niche, but because people don't read them.
Hey guys, welcome to Too Personal with Joy Taylor. Thanks so much for joining us. Make sure you hit subscribe and follow us on social at Too Personal Show. I'm very excited. Traci's in the house, Traci Thomas,
Yay.
the creator and host of the Stacks Pod. And we've been wanting to get together for a while. We are both in LA, but as Los Angeles Angelitos.
Angelinos.
Angelinos. Angelitos. I'm an Angelito
I
because I'm
kind of want to be an Angelito.
I'm an Angelito because I'm tiny. Is that an acceptable way to do that? Because I'm short. Yeah, you're from here, Specs. You could Chris. You can. He introduced himself to Traci as Chris. I was like, who is Chris? Welcome to Too Personal.
Yay, I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you. Why can't the children read?
You know, this is a great question. I have a lot of thoughts about it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Because we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
I listened to you guys talk about it.
And it's upsetting me and my homegirls.
I think part of the reason the children can't read is because the adults can't read or don't read. I think, modeling behavior like you do for kids, for everything else, like being kind, being generous, helping, you also have to model reading. If you want to have readers in your house, you need to read in your house and not on your phone. You need to read a book, or you need to make it clear to your kids that your Kindle is for books, that it's different than your phone, right? I also think that we're putting too much pressure on teachers to be the exclusive teachers of reading or models for reading. The teachers are being forced to teach to the test. They don't have time. They don't have energy. They don't have resources. They're not being paid. Would you expect that person to be able to do something that is as hard as teaching someone how to not just read, but to comprehend the reading? That's the real issue, I think. It's not that kids can't read. They can read. They cannot take the information they're reading, think about it, translate it, draw conclusions, have opinions, analyze. And I think that also that, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I think that is also tied to just media literacy in general.
Yeah.
Kids also can't watch movies and tell you what they're about. They don't understand how to critically think about text, whether it's a written text, a text that they're watching that's been turned into a film. I would probably guess they can also interpret a lot of music, that it's the language and then the thinking about it, and that's the thing we're not teaching. Those are all my thoughts, or some of my thoughts. I'm sure I have more, but it's a problem. And I also think we don't do it. A lot of adults don't do it.
Well, it's, for me, I have been criticized by the people in my life that I am too hard on everyone.
Sure.
I think I'm perfectly measured, but I'm willing to accept some level of feedback. It frustrates me because I hate that humans have to go through cycles. We have the information.
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to do this? Why are we so hell-bent on repeating cycles? An uneducated, illiterate population is easier to control.
Yes.
We have the history across the entire planet to show the evidence and results of that.
Yep.
Why would we willingly submit to that again?
I mean, I don't think that people are necessarily willingly submitting to it. I think it's being sort of thrust upon us, right? Like, I think the schools are bad.
So organize the resistance.
Sure. I mean, yes, 1,000% yes. But I don't think that it's as simple as like people don't want to read. I think people also don't know they're illiterate. Because again, a lot of people can read the words, right? I mean, I work in books. I talk to people about books all the time. You would be stunned to know how many people who consider themselves readers will say something to me about a book. And I am sitting there going, That's literally not what the book said. That's not what happened. After, X scene, Y happened. So X is not where we stopped. But it's like there's this, we do not have the tools to talk about books in a way that is engaging to people, and reading that's engaging to people. And like one of my hottest takes that people get mad at me about, but I will live by this for the rest of my life. I think that talking shit about books is good for books. In the book space, there's this like preciousness that you can't be mean because writing a book is hard and all this stuff. And I'm like, everything is hard. Being a waiter is hard, and you talk shit to your waiter. You're rude to that person. You don't respect the work that they've done. But for some reason, when it comes to books, we have to be precious and kind because authors might read your Goodreads review. But my thing is, if we want people who want to read and talk about books, we have to build a community around books in the same way that you can say, I didn't like the Odyssey. Right. And no one's going to be like, well, making a movie is hard. Having an IMAX camera in a horse is hard. Like, it's all hard. Work is hard. But if we want to be able to talk about books and think about books, and we want kids to talk about books and think about books, we have to give them the permission to say, I read this book and I didn't like it because I thought it was dumb. And that's not great analysis, but that opens a conversation for their friend to say, well, now I want to read this. Like, that's how I was reading as a kid. Someone would be like, oh, I read the Babysitter's Club book and I can't believe this happened. And I said, well, I got to know what happened.
Right.
Right. And we don't have that space in the book world, especially for younger people.
You spitting, because I do think that criticism is a part of conversation.
Yes.
Like, I am a big villain person.
Me too.
And I think that you need, and criticism is sort of fills that villain role in conversation as well.
Right.
So when it comes to like sports, we always have villains.
Yes. All my favorite athletes are the most villainous, chesty people. I'm a Draymond person.
I mean, who isn't? Who isn't a Draymond?
A lot of people.
We are big Draymond people.
We're
around
very
here.
pro Draymond.
We love my brother Draymond. You need villains.
Yes.
And you need the villain in critique creates conversation.
Yes.
It creates scarcity. It creates interest,
excitement.
I recently talked about this with the WNBA, where like we can't have a preciousness around the conversations.
Right.
It can't just, if we don't want the conversations to just be this toxic, anti-trans, psychotic, male-centered bullshit.
Yeah.
We need to be able to critique the play without being told that we're haters. Like, it has to be the same level that you do movies, that you do music, that you do men's sports. Like, and books, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be some intrigue to the feedback. I mean, Haley got me on Court of Thorn and Roses. Is that what it is? Oh. And obviously everyone is talking about this book. And I'm like, so I read the book, loved the book, was not a spice. Now, maybe I'm just a fucking freak, but I was like, where's this? This is spice, guys. Are we having sex? I know I'm not having a lot of sex, but like the breathing into the chest thing, that's what happens in Missionary. So like, where's I was like, there's gotta be more spice. And I've been told that as I've
been told this too.
The series goes on, which I now have the series thanks to Haley. And Haley is a huge reader. So this is like, we talk about this constantly. I need to read the rest of the series because I've got to see how spicy it gets.
Well, that's the thing. And also, like, when we talk about media literacy, what better way to understand a thing than someone else to engage with you about it? If you say, I hated this, and then I say, well, I loved it and here's why, I have to give you examples as to why. I have to argue it. I have to explain based on the text what I thought. That's text analysis. But we're not giving people the space. And I think adults also, I mean, I'll give an opinion about books, which is my job. And someone will say, oh, well, I didn't get that, but you're probably right. I'm like, no, I'm not right. I want to hear why you loved
opinion
it.
Is not
and
facts.
then I want to bitch at you why you're an idiot. Like, I want to have the space to be like, I hated it. You loved it. You tell me why. And me to be like, but that's, you're wrong. Or this is what, and that I think we've devalued sort of the casual critique. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we've also devalued actual literary criticism, which is a whole different thing, and all the media outlets that are shutting down, and like, that's separate. But I think for individuals, being able to have a critical conversation that is casual and like knowing how to fight with each other and how to disagree, but not personally, but to disagree about a work of art is so important. And I think like the other thing about the kids is, I know I said that the parents aren't reading, but also the parents and the kids should sometimes be reading the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you should sometimes maybe book club with your niece or nephew or your child or, your family
and since
friend.
most of you can't read past 6th grade level anyway,
That's
you're cool.
right. You're fine.
You actually probably need to stay there.
And like parents,
You need to run Goosebumps back.
this is what I'm saying. Wait, my kids and I are reading this book called The Academy, and it's about a little boy who goes to a soccer academy in England, and it's amazing, and I'm obsessed with it. It's for like 3rd and 4th graders, but I'm obsessed. But the other thing I was going to say is also reading aloud to your kids, even after they can read, is proven to be very valuable for literacy because you can have, conversations about the text. I always stop and say to my kids, what do you think is going to happen? Right? It doesn't matter if they're right. It's just about teaching them to read and think as a person who's engaging with the text. And maybe they miss something and you pause and you say, what did you think about that? What they say is not important. It's important that you're giving them the space to think and read actively.
Yeah. You don't have to start with the art of war.
No.
Like, just ease your way into it. But one thing I also think that we have gotten away from, and this is just my like elitism talking, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Because I knew where I grew up.
I'm so nervous to hear what you're going to say. I can't wait.
No, we got to talk about people being dumb. People are dumb.
Oh, people are dumb.
We have to, it used to not be cool to be dumb.
Well,
when you got called on to read in class.
And you couldn't do it.
The anxiety of I really think that's a big part of at least our generation, why people were so afraid of speaking publicly, because the anxiety of it's your turn to read in class. You better not stumble over a word. You're going to get cooked.
Yeah.
You're going to get cooked.
Yeah.
If you can't read through this. And now I can't even imagine if teachers do that anymore, because
I don't know.
They can't read. So we can't have a class reading session if nobody knows what these letters are.
Right.
And that was a real thing.
Yeah.
I just think we need to bring back smart being cool.
Yeah.
And the term nerd has been, it's been repurposed to be like a good thing.
Yeah.
And I agree with it.
Yeah.
Right. Because at least where I grew up.
Where you grew up?
In Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, okay.
The smart kids were not getting teased.
Yeah.
That was not a thing.
Yeah.
The smart kids, we learned this in American Pie. The smart kids were fucking, okay?
Yeah.
The band kids were getting it the fuck in, okay?
Yeah.
Way earlier than most of the rest of us, actually.
Yeah.
Okay? So you had your cliques, you had your groups, but it wasn't a cool thing to not be smart.
No.
Not getting good grades was not something we celebrated.
No.
It wasn't a thing. So when someone was like, "Oh, you're a nerd because you're lame, not because you're stupid."
Yeah.
And we've gotten to this point where we've celebrated so much dumb shit.
Yeah, I mean,
get
look at
it.
the White
Sometimes
House.
we need to watch. Well, even before that, though,
Right. The celebration of the fact that we have elected a person to be the leader of our country who also cannot read. I think that's modeling again.
But in order for us to get there, in order for us to get to a point where a babbling buffoon like Donald Trump could even have the audacity to run for president, the groundwork had to be laid for people to think that is acceptable.
Well, this is a country that loves a scam also. We love a con. And so I think we love a con more than we love a smart person, because a con person is a smart person who is, emperor has no clothes. That's so I think such an American thing. And so I feel like if you can do that and be charming and be whatever, you don't have to be smart in this country. We don't value education. Obviously, we don't pay teachers. That's who we are.
You're actually right about that, because fundamentally, and again, this is my elitism. I am fully acknowledging my privilege, my elitism, my me being angry at people who are not intellectual. Throw it all my way. Fine. Okay. I grew up in a home where we had to read books.
Same.
We went to the library and would bring baskets, literal laundry baskets, and check out as many books as the library would allow us.
Right.
And read. We had to read books per week.
Yep.
Then we had Book It.
We did all the book shit in my house too. I'm from Oakland, so I'm from the Bay. You can't be dumb in the Bay. It's illegal. For legitimately being stupid in the 90s and 2000s in the Bay is nobody fucks with you.
People weren't not in the way it is. You've got Berkeley. And, that wasn't the case in Pittsburgh, but it was like, yeah, what do you mean you can't read?
Yeah.
People get fried. And like the bully, that gets an appropriate amount of bullying because
Yeah.
like, okay, you want to know how to read. Cool. There are people that can help you
Right.
and teach you. My mom was a teacher for years. She's excellent at teaching
Right.
children and people. She taught all of us how to read.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah.
her bag.
And it's not like, I think we should probably say, just in case people have feelings, we're not talking about kids who are dyslexic, right? Like,
Oh my God, fuck off. We're not talking about
but
anyone who has a problem.
but like
We're talking about
we
normal
we
people
did have friends who I did have
I'm
friends who were dyslexic who really couldn't read very well, and like that was a thing though. Still, like we would be like, "Yo, Dub can't read" or whatever, but he was hella
it's even
smart.
funny when you say
You know
it.
what I mean? But like that was a literal.
Could
That
you
was a
imagine
literal.
someone
This person
saying that
can't
about
read.
you?
Like that was like a literal. This person can't read. You know what I mean? Versus like you don't know how to read. And this friend that I'm thinking of, he's actually like one of my smartest friends because he learned how to do all the stuff you do with reading without actually having to read. He learned how to like take context clues and interpret. Right? Like sometimes having
Dub
a
can't
disability.
Shout out to Dove.
Shout out to Dub. We still one of our dearest friends.
No, I had to do the trick where I would have like a piece of paper like this, and I would have to hide all of the
other
rest of the
letters,
text
yeah.
in order to
Go
to
down.
read.
Yeah,
and I would just slide it down so that I could read. I can't, if I don't like sound things out when I'm physically writing, I will write a word backwards. We're not talking about people who have learning disabilities or struggling. Fuck off. Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about completely normal people who are choosing not to use the resources available, who are choosing not to force reading. We need to bring back forcing your children to do things too.
That's true.
As someone who has no kids, you guys are failing as parents. Force your kids to do things. They're children. They don't know what they're talking about. Bring back adult conversations. Adults are talking. Don't interrupt me. I'm about to start saying it to people's children. Excuse me.
You should. I would love.
Do you see adults talking? What could you possibly want? Is someone dead? Is someone bleeding? No. Don't interrupt us again.
Listen, my kids have to do shit.
You have to make your kids do stuff.
They have to do stuff.
I don't care about their feelings. This is why I don't have any
care
kids.
about their feelings, but also they have to do stuff.
I don't care about their feelings. You guys are too worried about your kids' feelings. Your kids will be fine. All right, you're gonna fuck your kids up regardless.
That's my thought.
There's no way your kids are getting out of childhood unscathed. None of us have. So
they're all gonna be
things.
in therapy being like, my mom never made me do anything. I don't know how to do anything. That's my biggest thing as a mom. I'm like, I do not want to be the mom of the kid who goes to college and can't do their own laundry. Like, to me, that is just mortifying because that's a reflection of me. If you want to be a loser, fine. But you need to know how to wash your armpits. You know, like they're like, I'm going to raise the dirty kids? Never.
It's always been fascinating to me. And I'm glad to hear you say that as a boy mom, because boy moms are never beating the allegations.
No. Well, I try to, but.
No. Like, it's important that you guys do because, listen, they're out here doing wild things.
Boys become men, which is terrifying to me,
Oh
which is what my mantra at all times. When kids do something bad, I'm like, this is going to be a man who has this problem.
They'll grow out of it.
Hopefully.
But yeah.
But they'll at least know how to do their laundry and shower properly, right? Like they'll at least know how to like empty the dishwasher.
Well, that's always my thing about like when people, when like, not to get into the dating conversations, but people are like, oh, like, do you cook? I don't understand what you're asking me. Are you saying, can I make things to feed myself?
Right.
Who doesn't do that? Like,
well,
can you clean? No, I live in filth.
Yeah. I think the do you cook question is like, can you make food from scratch?
No, I cannot make food I'm not making noodles from scratch.
Well, not noodles, but like, there are people who like don't know how to make a pot of rice or something, or like make pasta.
Yeah, you buy a rice cooker.
Sure, but I think that's what, like, do you cook? That's what it means to me. It's not like, can you open a microwave
I think what it means to them is, are you going to make food for me?
Oh, when a man asks you this. Yeah, for sure. No, I think that's what, I think they're asking, will
and the
you
answer
cook
is no,
me food?
I'm not making food for you.
But like sometimes, like, I've had babysitters and be like, can you cook? Trying to figure out like, can they make my kid a grilled cheese or not? Right? Like my question is like, can you make a basic piece of food? Like, do you need it to come from a microwave package, or can you take bread and butter and cheese and grill? Like, do you have that skill set? I guess the bar is just really low.
The bar is in
It's just, like,
Hades.
below.
Okay, the bar is in hell.
As I'm saying this
The bar
loud,
is in
I'm like, what?
Beelzebub's crib. Like it's actually crazy, and it's so frustrating to me. And like when Haley and I were talking about like the literacy crisis, it's just as someone who appreciates history, as someone who appreciates what my ancestors fought through.
Yeah.
Like I feel a deep obligation to my grandfather who grew up in Mobile, Alabama, who spent 30 years in the US Army, who raised a family in Detroit and all over the world, really. Like we have an incredible amount of opportunity and we've gotten wildly lazy.
Yeah.
And I think that is like for all this patriotism talk and like save America and all this stuff, like we're missing the plot. All of this could happen. The reason that they want women barefoot in the kitchen is not because they care about family. It's because a less educated, less capable population is easier to control. The reason why they want men to be these red pill dribbling idiots is because then they can cart your ass off to war more easily.
Right.
And you're a replaceable body. If you are educated, if you can pick up a history book and read, oh, how interesting. This has already happened all over the world many times. Seems like they're doing the same thing to us.
Wow, there's a playbook. Incredible.
I think I won't participate. Then you push back and you organize.
Right. This is why we're not taught history in school in any meaningful way.
Correct. And it's why they've never encouraged Americans to travel. Because the more that you go and see other places, the more you're like, oh, we don't have to live like this. I came back from Japan and was like, we live like animals.
This is how I felt when I came back from Japan. I was like, excuse me?
We live like animals.
Excuse me? I have a girlfriend who's from England, and the way she talks about our education system, she's raising kids here. I'm just like, you got to go home. You got to take those kids. Like, they could learn something.
Yeah, give them a chance. Give them a fighting chance.
She's like, we probably will for middle school. She's like, I don't think we could survive in this country with
it's not a reflection of the teachers.
No.
I want
It's
to be very clear. I hold teachers in the highest level of respect, and like there's no way I could do. I never want to spend an afternoon with your children. No, like they're not your children, but like
no, I don't want to spend an afternoon with my children. That's why my kids go to summer camp. Like that's why the weekend is my hell.
I don't want to teach your kids anything. The patience, the fortitude, the kindness, the selflessness that teachers have.
Even like bad teachers have to have those skills.
Of course.
Like I'm like, even the worst teachers have to deal with a room of 30 children.
The idea that people still want to be children, I think is
teachers.
I mean, want to be teachers is
it's stunning.
I think it's a testament to the human spirit.
That
people still want to do this. Why would you want to do this?
No, you'll never catch me talk bad about teachers when it comes to the literacy crisis because I just don't believe it's their fault. Like, I just don't believe. I think there are teachers who are bad, right? Like, I do believe there are teachers who aren't doing a good job, just like there's everyone who's bad at their job.
Right.
But I don't believe that it's the teacher's fault. People are like, well, they don't teach novels anymore. I'm like, great, because they have to teach to the test. Their job performance is based on government instituted this and that. Like, they do not have the autonomy that our teachers used to have. And, you know, I feel like we saw this when the Odyssey came out and everyone's like, you didn't read the Odyssey in school? And I didn't. But there was this whole thing about like standardized text. And I'm like, that's never been the case here. There were English in my high school. I went to private school. In my high school, different teachers taught different books. It wasn't even a standardized English curriculum within my high school. So I don't know. I just think we're blaming the teachers too much. I think we blame English teachers too much. I have a girlfriend who's a former English teacher. And one of the things she talks about and has written about extensively is that history teachers, science teachers should also be teaching books. They should also be teaching critical thinking and reading skills through books, right? Like, why is it only English teachers? There are, like, my African-American history teacher in high school, he gave us the autobiography of Malcolm X. A lot of history teachers aren't giving kids books about history. They're teaching from a textbook. They're teaching to a textbook because that's what they have to do. But if we want our kids to love reading, we have to show them that there's reading that goes in history.
Wait, so they don't have to write papers on the book?
They do, but they usually have to write papers in like a history class about research this moment in history, research this country,
Oh,
as
so they don't have
opposed to being
okay.
like, read this book about China, right? Or
Mhm.
like read Nelson Mandela's memoir, right? Like that's something you could teach in a history class, but we're basically asking English teachers to do not only the teaching of English, like, um, metaphor, simile, all of that, but also teaching them how to read a text and analyze it. And my friend says these should be two different classes, English language and English comprehension, like that these should be two separate classes in school because it's two separate skill sets. But the point is, like, I learned to love reading a lot of things because I was a theater kid. So in my drama department, our teacher would bust out Shakespeare. We'd sit at a big table and we'd read it all together out loud. And we'd walk through it. If we didn't know a word, we'd go to the lexicon, we'd look it up. But teaching reading, looking up words, insane, I know. People don't do it.
I mean, that's also a part of it because when you did not know what a word
You
meant,
had to look it
you
up.
had to go look it up.
I know.
And your parent would not tell you what it
Never
meant.
tell you.
And no adult would tell
No,
you.
the
Like
only
it
time
was
they ever would tell
understood.
you is if you looked it up and you were still like, I still don't get it.
Yeah,
Because
but
sometimes you'd have
you
that.
had to get in the dictionary and look it up.
Had to look it up. That's right. We had encyclopedias. Did you?
Yes, we had an encyclopedia.
We
Yeah, I mean that was our Google.
Yeah. My dad
So-
used to sometimes be like, well, if you still don't get it, go like look up this thing in the encyclopedia, which was like would be like an
And it was
example.
a physical task.
It was-
It wasn't like on.
Yeah, ours were
like,
in
we're
the
never going to get back to
basement.
that because people have phones now.
Yeah.
But it was a physical task, so it actually did teach you to, remember these
Right.
things.
And it taught you that if you were too lazy to do it, you'd have to use context clues. Because sometimes I'd come to a word and be like, well, let me just keep reading and see if I can kind of figure this out. Because I don't want to get up, go get the dictionary.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'd be like, okay, well, let me just see if I can come back to figuring this out from continuing to read. And that's another thing people
And
don't do.
curiosity is something that I think we need to get back to also.
Yeah.
And the idea that you don't know something, because the inability to adjust your opinion based off of new information being shameful is a big part of why we're here.
Sure.
Like and it's a big part of media as well.
Yeah.
Like sticking to, it's why I enjoyed working with Colin so much, because like he will change. If you get new information, you need to change your opinion.
Yeah.
Like if you have an opinion about something and then you present it with facts
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, well, that doesn't align with what I thought.
Yes.
You now have to change your
Yes.
opinion. And the idea that's like, oh, like, well, you're switching up. Yeah.
Duh.
If you think that a stove is cold
Right.
and then you touch it and it's in fact hot, then you have new information.
You're going to leave your hand there?
Then you move your hand and then
Right.
the next time you don't touch the stove.
Well, right. Like the idea of growth. Growth is inherently antithetical to stagnation. So people are like, oh, I want to grow. I want to do. It's like, well, you're going to have to change. You can't grow and stay in the same spot. Like
I just think
words mean things. which
words
is
mean things. That's
also part of this.
That's part of it as well. I don't know. It scares me. It scares me because, I don't want to give up
No.
on society.
No.
And I really mean American society, because there's so many places in the world that are not having this conversation.
No.
Which is important to remember, because I think the pride of being a functional member of society is gone.
Mhm.
And everyone's just trying to like loophole and shortcut their way to things.
Yeah.
And in this world where all I hear about is how concerned people are for their children, it's all about kids, it's all about families, it's all about, setting people up for the future. Your fucking kids cannot read.
Yeah.
And that should terrify you, because that means that someone who can read and is smart, can control their entire lives. If
Yeah.
I choose to become the villain that you're forcing me into, I will enslave your children because they're dumb and you made them this way.
You made them dumb.
What am I to do?
Yeah. You want me to just like do the right thing
That's
when I could be a
it's
villain
an
instead?
incredible ask of
Yeah.
someone like me. And that's what's happening.
Sure. You're right.
What do we do?
Well, I don't know.
I have like this much left. Okay. And then I'm out. And then I'm just going to join the Death Star.
Yeah. I mean, what do we do? It's a great question. I mean, people have to want to change. I mean, like, like that's the part that I have a book podcast. I talk about books. Like, I think that I could probably argue that I'm like an advocate for books.
You're doing the work.
Yeah,
You're
like
doing
I
the
feel
work.
like in this particular case, like I feel like I'm kind of
You
doing
are
what I'm
doing
supposed to
the
be
work.
doing.
Yeah.
And yet still lots of people don't read. I mean, I feel like books are niche, not because they're actually niche, but because people don't read them. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like book influencing shouldn't be more niche than like people who taste potato chips, you know? But like I'm like the fucking hot wings guy has a huge audience. I'm like, that's fucking niche.
Oh my God,
Eating
we
hot
love Sean, though.
No, I'm just saying like people are like, oh, books are so niche. I'm like, books are everywhere.
No, the fact that you're even saying books are niche, like as a child, just the idea that I would then live in a world where most of the American population reads at a 6th grade level,
Stunning.
it's unimaginable to me. And yeah, like I just don't think people really understand how truly devastating and scary this is. Because I'm being funny, but if you've read
if you could read any of the things people are writing about
1984, which is one of my favorite books.
I've actually never read it.
What?
I know.
Like out of defiance?
No, it just was never assigned to me, and I just like have never gotten around to it. It's been on my list forever. I just never done it. But you know how many books there are?
There's
You know, it's like I feel like it's like.
But 1984 is like you got to read 1984.
I know. I just read Animal Farm for the first time.
I've never read Animal Farm
last year. I know. It's just like. Anyways, but
1984 is one of my favorite books, and it scared the shit out of me. I think it actually is what
made you continue reading.
Maybe continue reading, but I think it also radicalized me because I was like, wow, this could so easily happen, and it is happening now.
Yeah.
Like those things are starting to happen, and it's like Handmaid's Tale and like these books that predict this dystopian future. Like part of the way that those things come to pass is by submitting to stupidity, submitting to being illiterate. And like to just take a complete turn, as Black people, you should want to read and demand that your children be literate at the highest level. They used to not let us read.
Well,
like they used to kill our ancestors for trying to learn how to read. If that sentence does not resonate in your brain through your bones about how important it is, I feel as adamant about that as I do about voting. If they were hanging people and killing people and brutalizing them for the right to be able to do this, you now in the year of Beyonce of 2026 should never allow this to happen.
Well, okay, so here's the one thing I do want to say about Black people and reading. You guys might have to fact check me on this. I think it's a 2024 piece in The Atlantic. They talked about the most likely person to buy a book is a college-educated Black woman. The most degreed people we know are Black women. So I actually think that Black adults are reading at pretty high levels. I think kids across the board aren't, but I don't know. I actually think that like what's something that I deal with and I think is really interesting is like in the book space, they really are horrible to Black authors, which shouldn't surprise anyone. And they're like, there's no audience for this, there's no audience for that. But we know that Black women are the most likely people to buy a book. And so I think some of this stuff is really interesting that's like Black people are reading, Black people do read, Black people enjoy reading, they read for pleasure. They buy books. It's not just that they're like, you know, out here. I mean, I love the library, but like for the publishing industry, buying books is different. You know. And I want to just say again, I love the library. I am an active library
I
user.
love how libraries smell.
I love everything about the library. The Los Angeles Public Library System is so amazing. Just shout out to them, LAPL, my best friends. But I do think that there's also this disconnect and that Black people are reading and the publishers are not giving us books that we want to read because publishing is so overwhelmingly white, even whiter than movies and TV and everything else.
It's an awful place.
It's
I wanted to write a book like 8 years ago. And the book agent told me that I wasn't famous enough to write a book. And I was like,
it's only gotten worse.
Why do you have to be famous to write a book?
Worse. It's only gotten worse.
What does that even mean?
Now it's like about like you don't have enough followers. I'm like, okay, babe. Well, I don't know. I
Isn't
don't know how to social media influencer. I'm an author.
what? Right. Like, why would that matter?
Like I didn't say I wanted
If
to
I need
have my
to
own
be famous,
YouTube
like,
channel.
Are most
Yeah.
authors famous? Like when they start writing? Like, what does
No.
that even mean?
No.
Yeah, no. Black women are going to save the world
Oh yeah.
for sure, because we have no other choice. But what I feel about like the whole space is like across the board.
Yes.
Because this is something that was kept from us.
Yes,
It should
we should
be
be
at the
something-
highest
yes.
level of urgency that it not be our community.
Right. That it's something that like we defiantly do as like.
I mean, it's feel the same way about guns. If we all went out and got guns, this shit would be illegal tomorrow.
Sure. Have you read the book The Second by Carol Anderson?
No.
So good. It's about the Second Amendment. She's an incredible historian out of Emory. She wrote the book White Rage. She wrote One Person, No Vote. And then she wrote this book called The Second. And it's all about how the Second Amendment's relationship to Black people and Black people's gun ownership. And it is fantastic. It's fantastic.
I'm going to check that out then.
The other thing I was going to say about like earlier, kind of like looping back to the earlier like nerd stuff, I think, and this is also connected to my earlier point of like, we don't know how to talk about books, is also like books aren't considered pop culture in the way they used to be. Books like used to be really cool. And sure, there are books that blow up like Court of Roses and whatever.
Thorns and Roses.
Whatever. They're all the blank of the blank and the blank. But like
Well,
those
this is
books,
the dragon ones too, right?
Fourth Wing. Yes, Fourth Wing.
Yeah,
and
that's
then there's
Haley's
like
bag.
all the Colleen Hoover books. Like there are books that are big.
Like, you have it? Oh, you got the
Oh.
next one?
You have
Oh, the Assassin's Blade.
you've moved on.
Oh, I'm
well,
very
she's got
behind.
2 new ones, right? Coming out later this year. I've not read these books, I have to admit. But like there's
But it's
books
okay.
that pop through.
If you shade the books, it's fine. This is what you're saying to the earlier
Yes.
point.
No, I'm just saying I haven't read them, so I can't fully shade them. I'm shading them based on just like I really like, dark nonfiction and like dark fiction. So I just don't know that like fairy smut is like for me, but I want you to read it, Haley, and anyone else who wants to read it. I don't really book shame. That's not really
What
my
is
thing.
your okay, so what is your genre? Because this is why Haley forced this on me.
Okay.
Because I enjoy punishing myself
Okay.
in a variety of ways.
Okay.
And I like almost always read nonfiction like history,
Okay.
which
I do
is
that.
awful for your spirit.
I like it.
So,
That's what I read.
so
I love
do
history.
not
I love
do a
narrative
lot- yeah,
nonfiction.
I do not
love
do a lot of
investigative journalism.
yeah, like I love Malcolm Gladwell.
Okay, so I don't love Malcolm Gladwell.
You don't.
I think he's a great writer. I think he's very persuasive. I think that the research is thin. You look at the notes. It's just-
Interesting.
It's thin.
Talking to Strangers is one of my favorite books.
Go read some of those.
I don't want to.
It's thin. It's thin. That's all I'll say. I read it twice because I hated it so much that I was like, let me read this again. He doesn't define what a fucking stranger is, Joy. He's like, these people who work together for 8 years are strangers. And also Brock Turner and Chanel Miller are strangers. And also Stalin and fucking like Churchill and like.
Okay, so is it the title that bothers you?
Well, I think that the whole premise is based around strangers, but how are you like, how can Sandra Bland be a stranger to that police officer in the same way that a person who was a coworker for 8 years is a stranger? Those
Well,
are not
okay, yeah,
strangers.
that-
Do you know what I mean? Like, so like
yeah.
the premise of the argument pissed me off so
But
much.
I like the argument of talking to strangers because I think it is applicable. So this is where what I took from that book
Okay.
and why I liked it, because I have a hard time with trust,
Sure.
as most of us do.
Sure.
Well, we've all been betrayed. We've all suffered the consequences of trusting the wrong person. But when people say, "Oh, I don't trust anyone," well, yeah, of course you do. You trust that the waiter is going to bring you what you
I'm not
ordered.
gonna spend your
You
food.
trust that this pilot on this plane is not drunk and is going to
Yeah.
land the plane properly. You trust the Uber driver. Like, in order to have a functioning society, we
Yeah.
as humans have to trust each other
Yeah.
in some capacity. So that being the case, builds from there. And as someone who really, really does not want to trust people, I took a lot from the premise of like, yeah, well, you have to trust people in order to be a functioning person, because otherwise you just turn into like a gremlin that lives in the woods.
Sure, but isn't the actual premise is like you never really know anybody?
Yeah, but yes, but if I think like that, I'm going to be the gremlin that lives in the woods.
I read the book twice. I read it right when it came out, and I read it like a year and a half later. So I don't remember all the details. I wish that I could like really speak to it.
And I really loved the part about who was the woman that the girl that got accused of the murder in
Oh
Italy.
yes, Amanda Knox.
Amanda Knox.
That part was
Yeah.
interesting because it was about cultural differences and like how
Yeah.
we read people differently.
Mhm.
I think what Malcolm Gladwell is so good at is like he can argue almost anything. I feel like you could be like,
Yeah, maybe that's why I relate to it
and
so
so
much.
I like that. I like the way that he writes. I find him persuasive. I've read all of his books, and then at the end, I finish it, and I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't agree. Like, I don't agree with his arguments, or I don't think that they're well done arguments. I just think he's a good, persuasive writer, which to me are two different things. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like his biggest fan and also his biggest hater. Like at the same, like I'm like, no, you should read it so we could talk about it.
Yeah, no, I do love that. That is one of my favorite books to discuss.
Yes.
Just because of the premise of it. So I find it a very discussable book. And another one of my favorite books is I Wear the Black Hat.
I don't know that.
It's all about villains. Chuck
Okay.
Klosterman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do know that. I've never read it, but I know that.
Yeah, I got it recommended to me very early on in my career, and I found it a really fascinating breakdown of our society's obsession with villains.
Mm.
And just like the deification of like serial killers
Yeah.
and Kanye and Michael Jordan, and it
Mhm.
was very fascinating to me. But like that and history books is like what I'll read.
I like
So Haley was like, "You need to lighten it up a little bit. You're getting a little crazy."
Haley. Leave her alone.
I mean, it's a lot to deal with me every day when I'm like, "Did you hear about?"
Sure. This is me every day.
Yeah.
I read that kind of stuff. I love history. I love investigative journalism. So like if you have a crazy story and somebody digs in for 12 years and writes about it, sign me up. I will read some fiction. I like plot. So something that's like a very like character driven story is usually not for me.
Oh, you won't like those then. There's a lot of setup.
I don't love setup. Like if you can give me something in 200 pages, I'll be your best friend. And those books I know are long. But I also like good writing. Like
Mhm.
I like a beautiful sentence. I like Toni Morrison. I think that's like pretty obvious. This is going to get me in trouble.
Girl, I'm always in trouble.
I am not a huge James Baldwin fan.
Ooh, I'm not in that kind of trouble.
I like his thinking, but I don't like his sentences. I find his sentences like a little bit clunky for me. Like they're a little
Okay.
bit hard. I respect James Baldwin. I've read plenty of James Baldwin, but like as far as like what I like to read, I find his prose, especially in nonfiction, to be like a little too overworked for my personal taste. I do like the fiction. Like I did love Giovanni's Room. But I like a more sparse sentence if
Okay.
we're really getting on the sentence level.
I'll mix in some bell hooks.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But like one of my favorite things to read about Nazis. Like I love a World War II.
now, see, when it
Nazi
comes
book.
to movies,
Uh-huh.
I will enjoy a World War II film.
Yeah.
Or I'm very into like medieval settings.
Ooh, okay. For film.
For film and shows.
Okay.
Like I love Vikings.
Okay. That's
Um,
something I'm never into.
Vikings.
Just like medieval.
They're also fun.
Yeah. Sure. Tall.
So that helps.
Yeah.
Well, the Vikings were the clean whites
Yes. As opposed to
as opposed to the dirty whites in Britain
sure. Sure.
that infected the whole world.
Sure. Okay.
With disease.
Okay.
You know, they would wash.
Yeah, they were like on those boats and stuff.
Yeah, but they would wash. They like had like combs. They would comb their
I
hair.
love this for them.
They would take baths.
I
Like there
love
was
a
at
bath.
some point in England where the English men would not bathe because they thought that the dirt on their skin would
like
protect them from
more
disease.
dirt on their skin. We love a
I
British
can't get with that.
person.
I mean, whatever. We won the war, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
We bathe here. Some of
We do.
us.
I love England. London is like one of my favorite places on the planet. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're fucked, but I love that you are fighting the good fight.
Trying to.
And I do agree with you though. Like women are holding it down in the reading space, like book clubs, making like sharing books.
Yeah.
I will lend my favorite book to friends. And I'm also one of those people that like will read the first 2 chapters and then 6 months later come back and read the rest of the
Oh.
book. Like I am not because my brain is too fried to like sit down and read an entire book,
Yeah.
which I wish I could get back to. But yeah, like I have a reading nook in my house. I think it's just important to just be surrounded by books,
Yep.
to appreciate books, and to just encourage people to read. Like we need to make fun. Like you guys used to make fun of Dub. Like you need to make fun of your friends that don't read. Like, and I went through a phase when I was younger where I was like, I don't read books. Like who reads books? Like, early 20s.
Yeah.
But they're taking everything from us.
Yeah.
And like, if we don't take it seriously,
Yeah.
it's going to be a wrap.
Somebody said books are the only form of entertainment that don't have advertisements. And I thought, wow, incredible. It's true.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me. But like, yeah. I mean, I guess maybe like an art museum.
No,
Or
they
like
have the like the banners around town.
Sure.
Usually when there's an exhibit.
Well, I mean, like in the art.
Oh yeah.
Like you can open a book and there's no like commercial break in the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's right. Like you really are in control of the speed and pace of a book for yourself, right? Like if you want to read 10 pages a day or if you want to sit down and read the whole thing in a day, there's nothing to stop you. There's no advertisements or interjections from the outside if you don't want there to be.
Well, the other thing about books too that I think is important for everyone is, outside of not being dumb, which, you should care about.
Which is important.
Is we are incredibly overstimulated.
Yeah.
So reading to me is like that thing that gets my face off the screen,
Yeah.
that allows my brain to start working. Like I can feel it percolating in a way that is not, meme research.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that everything in the book is true. Like to your point about talking to strangers, like that doesn't mean that this is the gospel, which by the way, I don't subscribe to the gospel either. But you have to be able to critically think about what you're reading, to your point, and then apply it, or then continue to read something else that reinforces or critiques that. Like taking your face away from the screen, and not Kindles, but like away from
the phone,
social media
TV.
And the phone and the TV, like it's good for your spirit too.
Yeah. Do you find when you're reading, when you sit down to read, that sometimes it's really hard for you to actually start? See, this is the newest challenge for me, is that I used to be able to just like put my phone down and sit and read for an hour. And I got one of those bricks, the thing where it's like you tap your phone and it locks you out of your apps, because my impulse to reach for my phone sometimes when a book was like starting off slow or I like was so intense. And obviously like I read for work. So that's like a really amazing thing. And also sometimes it means like I have to read this book. Like I can't just not do the work in the way that like for people who are like, I'm just not in the mood, I'm going to watch a show. Like that's just not an option for me. And that's been the newest challenge for me. And I think, kids are definitely dealing with that too. And other adults are dealing with that. But that is real. It's like a really scary, powerful thing that our phones can do to us.
I mean, they're geniuses who have designed algorithms to keep us imprisoned on our squares.
Yeah.
And I do not devalue that. Like, obviously, we haven't talked about, social media and technology really while we've been sitting here, but obviously that's playing a massive role in why people aren't reading and why we have these stupid ass conversations about people talking about they did research on medical. You can't read a fucking book.
Yeah.
You are going to read a medical research paper.
You watch someone else talk about it.
I've seen you do coke off a stripper's ass. You have not read a fucking single medical research document.
That's not to say that people who do coke off strippers' asses can't read.
No, there's no correlation. But this person,
you are a fucking idiot.
Is not reading.
But I know you, my friend, are an idiot.
Not reading that medical research paper. Okay,
no, of course not. No, I
pretty solid place to do coke if you're going to do it.
Yeah,
but
go for it.
I don't. Coke's not my thing, but
mine either.
Yeah,
since we're just being honest,
I'm more of a downer drug person. Heroin.
Sure.
I'm just kidding. It's mushrooms. The point is, the technology has convinced people that they are reading,
right? Because
they're reading a word,
or
because
they're reading a headline,
a meme, or a headline.
Someone's telling them what they read.
Right.
That is also so terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, and we could talk about that for 3 hours. It's playing a role, but I do feel how you feel, which is like it's like this gravitational pull.
Yes, like I literally have to put my phone on airplane mode, put it in the other room, brick all my apps. Like I set timers for myself. So I'll set a 25-minute timer and then I'll take a 5-minute break. And hopefully in the 25 minutes, I've hit a place in the book that I don't always want to take the break after. But sometimes I need the break. Sometimes I fall asleep. I'm going to be honest. I fall asleep a lot when I read. Usually if I'm reading in the afternoon, I'll fall asleep for 10 minutes. The timer will go off and then I'll be fine to read for like an hour. But I do all the tips and tricks that I tell other people. I do all of them. Like, sometimes it's hard to read.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to pretend like it's just like,
We'll give you that. That's the grace we'll give you. It's hard.
it can be hard.
You got to
But,
do
know,
hard
we
things.
do hard things or whatever that lady said. What's her
Yeah.
name? Glennon Doyle.
We do hard things.
And she tried to like claim that she made up. You can do hard things or
Oh.
something. I don't know.
That's the thing to claim.
Take to the notes.
Well, thank you so much for coming down.
Thanks for having me.
I've been dying to have this conversation with you because we talk about it all the time because it obviously infuriates me. But
I got to know what are on all those note cards.
I didn't use most of this.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like,
I just completely bailed. No, actually, we did some of this. Why literacy is breaking down, what actually helps. We didn't talk about the Texas teacher video, but we essentially talked about
I
teachers.
hated that video.
Did you?
I don't know. I'm just like, I just teach the kids, man. I don't know. Like,
I gotta give him grace, man. It's
I mean,
it's
I
hard
feel
for
bad for him.
teachers.
I feel bad for him, but I don't like the shitting on the kids thing.
Again, like
I know.
our kids, like, listen, I talked about this with my I'm not gonna say who did, but I talked about it with one of my friends recently. Like, we've overcorrected. Okay.
No,
Like,
I
listen,
agree.
Our parents were abusing us.
Yeah.
All right. They were beating our asses and they took it too far. All right.
took
Like,
it too far.
I don't think you should hit your kid with a belt. I don't think you should hit your kid with a belt.
No, you shouldn't.
We've overcorrected. You're raising a generation of softies. And like
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to employ them and pay them very minimal money because they can't offer me anything.
No,
because they
correct.
don't want to work hard and they can't read. So what am I supposed to do?
Right. No, I'm with you. I think like with that video, do you know what I really hate? It's not just that guy. I hate when people go on social media to cry. I'm just like, that kind of video is really hard for me. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like,
The idea of crying on social media
it's just like, it's insane to me.
launch me off a cliff. First,
Like,
okay, I don't like crying in front of people who know me.
I don't like to cry.
I don't cry,
But like,
I've cried every day this week, and I have therapy in a few minutes because I've got to.
You gotta
It has
cry.
to stop.
Sure.
No, I don't want to cry. I'm
gotta
crying
get
too
it
much.
out.
Something's wrong.
But like, so any video that starts with someone being like in or near to tears, to me is just like, why are you taking this to the internet? Like, to me, this becomes about you wanting to get like likes. And like, yes, I love a teacher. I support that guy. I hope him and his kids can get it together. But those videos are, if we're being honest, I
You
hate
feel like
it.
it's a little self-serving.
I hate it. I fucking
Yeah.
hate it. Like, what's the point of this? What's the point of this?
Well, I think he was just trying to say like he's sad that these kids can't read.
So take 20 minutes, get your shit together, and come back and say what is that? Because like I didn't think it was a coherent argument. Also, it was just like the kids can't read, and I made them read 2 paragraphs, and they could. And then he was like, I gave them the answers, and they couldn't do it. I'm like, well, then if you're giving them the answers, then they're not figuring it out anyway. So you're not actually helping them learn how to read if you're just giving them the answers. I don't know. I hate it all. Stop crying. Stop crying on the
Okay,
internet.
I can co-sign that. I'm not a big crier in general, so crying on the internet is definitely a bridge too far for me. But I do think that in general, again, as someone who doesn't have children, maybe not beat your kids, but like, yeah, you guys are being you're not being hard enough on your children. They're not special. Your kid is probably going to do nothing. Very normal person, going to grow up and accomplish
Probably gonna have a podcast.
probably
like
the
us.
same thing everyone else is. They're not Einstein. They're not Toni Morrison. They're not James Baldwin. They're not going to cure cancer. No one's going to cure cancer because it's very cost inefficient for these companies for cancer to be cured. So you're probably going to have a very normal child. Stop acting like they're so precious. And I think one thing that our parents did, and I'll end on this, was let us know we were not important.
That's true.
You are not important.
No.
You have contributed nothing to society.
Yes.
You pay no bills up in this bitch. Shut up. Get in the corner. Read your book. Don't make noise while I'm sitting here decompressing from work. And when I tell you to get up and get me a glass of water, you better do it in a hurry. And I don't want to hear no
And don't say
back
what.
talk. No back talk. What is this back talk? Bring back no back talk and no interrupting adults.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. That's my auntie speech. Traci is teaching my Understanding Shakespeare.
Understanding Shakespeare.
Okay, sorry, there's a typo.
I probably said
Because I can read.
Yeah.
Traci is teaching Understanding Shakespeare. starting in September.
Yeah.
Details on this are
Yeah, so I teach a class about understanding Shakespeare, and I'm going to take people through how to read Shakespeare, because you think reading's hard,
yeah, Shakespeare is,
but it's not.
another
I love
language.
Shakespeare. I was a theater person. I was a theater major. I studied classical theater at NYU. I love it. I want other people to love it. So I'm taking people through a 6 weeks class. First week is kind of breaking everything down. And then each subsequent week, we will do one act of Richard III, which is a history play, but it is actually about authoritarian takeover. Ever heard of it? And it's really great. It's one of the great plays. It's great women characters, and it's an online class. So if people want to do it, they can go to my website, thestackspodcast.com, and sign up.
Awesome.
They'll start September 23rd.
And you also have a current reading list
Yep.
and the book club, and you
Yep.
can check all this out at the Stacks Pod, and make sure you go and subscribe to the
Yes,
pod as
please
well, and give it a listen. Thank you so much for joining us, Traci.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for entertaining my rants
Yeah.
about literacy.
I love it here. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Make sure you hit subscribe. Follow us on social at Too Personal Show.